Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's CDBG office hours. I'm Mike Phillips, the Federal Program Specialist. Also on the webinar, we have Mamie Early, our CDBG Second Chief, Susan Holt, our CDBG Program Manager. We have a CDBG Specialist, Felicity Gosser, Tanner Wolverton, and Crystal White. And from our ICF team, we have Lexi Baru, Ann Schmidt, and Lauren Pollock. If you are unfamiliar with Zoom, here's how you can ask a question to our team. In your user dashboard, there should be a Q&A chat icon, and you can use that to submit questions. You can ask questions anonymously, but we do ask that you leave your name, organization, or region you're associated with, and this just helps us better track follow-up and keep questions grouped together. And we'll read questions out loud throughout the presentation and provide answers if possible. And all questions will be saved and recorded as part of the public record. And just an update on office hours. Due to the holidays, the office hour session scheduled on December 27th will be canceled, but we will still be meeting for our next scheduled office hours on December 13th. So 2 weeks we'll still be meeting. And we set up the registration for the 2024 CDBG office hours webinar series. Zoom only allows us to set up so many instances in the webinar series. So every calendar year, we have to kind of set up a new webinar series. So anyone who would like to attend in 2024 will have to re-register for office hours, and I will link that registration in the chat in just 1 second. Okay, let's get into our program updates. I'll pass it off to Mamie.
Thank you, Michael. Good morning, everyone. For the CDBG program updates for the 2022 NOFA, we had 42 recommended for award. 2 is currently routing, 40 are approved. For the 2023 CDBG NOFA, again, we dropped the NOFA September 29th, 2023. That was for our over-the-counter waitlisted only projects, which was approximately 19 million. The application was open October 30th, 2023, and it's scheduled to close December 29th, 2023. And I'll go ahead and pass it over to Tanner, just for an update.
Yeah, hi, everyone. So our CDBG CV grantees are familiar with the financial reporting form that's required when you want to request reimbursement. We will be eventually requiring that for the annual program as well. Let's see, I didn't get a chance to read this slide. So it is available on our website. So take a look at it and get to know it a bit, because it will be required. It has a cover sheet and an expenditure worksheet, and it also has a signature line for your authorized signatory. So yeah, please get familiar with that, because it will be required soon.
Thank you, Tanner.
And I can take this slide. Yeah, thank you, Tanner. So we released a memo on November 15th with details about how to qualify for an augmentation of your CDBG CV award if you have a construction project that experienced unanticipated cost increases. That went out via email to all current CDBG CV grantees, again on November 15th. So do check your email if you haven't seen that yet. If you have any questions about the process for requesting that augmented funding, you can reach out to your CDBG CV grant administrator or ask questions during office hours. Back over to you, Mike.
Great, thank you, Felicity. So let's get into our Q&A recap from last week's office hours. Let's see, this question was on trainings on YouTube. The question was, has the budget and application training been posted to the new YouTube channel? And the answer to this was, yes, it has. Please visit this link for our YouTube channel playlist that includes both the pre-recorded 2023 NOFA trainings and the live recorded 2023 NOFA webinars. And I will link that into the chat. This is our new, HED made like a new YouTube channel specific for workshops and trainings and all that. So we have a new playlist under this channel, and we'll be posting all of our content on this new channel going forward. So I'll post that in the chat after our recap. This next question was on the NOFA application. Question was, can a jurisdiction apply for the NOFA if they just received 2022 award? If yes, how much must be expended by what date? And the answer to this was, under the upcoming NOFA, the 50% rule will only apply to applications submitted under the competitive solicitation, so not applications under submitted over the counter. Under the upcoming NOFA, only planning and public service applications will be competitive. The rest of the application types will be over the counter and will not be subject to the 50% rule. So as a threshold requirement for submitting a competitive planning or public service application, a grantee will have to spend either 50% of its open planning awards or 50% of its open public service awards prior to application. This next question was on PI project eligibility. And the question was, we are looking at submitting a PI application for an implementation project, energy efficiency lighting, for our social services building, which think it would qualify due to serving an eligible population. I hope this would be an eligible project. And the answer to this was, it would be best to speak with your HCD representative to receive an accurate and specific response regarding eligibility. So please reach out to your HCD representative. If you do not know who your HCD rep is, you can send an email to cdbg@hcd.ca.gov with your jurisdiction name and the nature of your request. So this next question was on housing rehab grants. The question was, would it be possible to have a housing rehab project be done fully as a grant? Is there a dollar amount limit or income qualification limit, such as 50% or lower, or a full grant could be awarded instead of a grant loan combo? And the answer to this was, the CDBG program leaves it up to local discretion to determine if a program provides loans or grants to beneficiaries. The dollar amount limit or income qualification depends on the jurisdiction's preference. As long as all households are at or below 80% AMI, jurisdictions must adhere to what is in their own program guidelines. If you are looking to change your housing guidelines, HCD has recently updated its sample guidelines. They are posted as part of Appendix E, Housing Activities, as Appendix E1. This next question was on the 2024 competitive limits. The question was, any updates on what you might be considering regarding the limits for the 2024 NOFA for the competitive part of that program? I believe you had some feedback, some supportive feedback to increase this section. And the answer was, thank you for your feedback at the 2024 listening session. Because of a need to ensure that we are providing opportunities to many grantees with a limited pool of available resources, we will be keeping the limit at the previously proposed $250,000 per award for both planning and public service applications. See, the next question is on economic development application due date. The question was, what would be the economic development business loan program application due date? And the answer to this was, if you're referencing the upcoming NOFA, we will keep the application window at 60 days. So once we drop the NOFA, we give grantees 30 days to review the NOFA. And after the application review period, we open the application for 60 days. Let's see, this last question was on the 50% rule. The question was, if you have an open public service grant, then you can't apply for any other public service grants unless you have spent 50%, or does it only apply to a public service with the same matrix code? And the answer to this was, it applies for public service in aggregate, so it does not apply matrix code to matrix code. So if a grantee has more than one public service award currently open, it must have spent at least 50% of all open awards in aggregate prior to application to qualify for a new award. All right, let's see. That's all we have for the Q&A recap. So let's get into our live Q&A. And let's see, our first question is from Paul. So when will we start requiring the financial form? Do we have a tentative date?
Thanks for the question, Paul. We had I think we'd signaled a while back that we were going to start requiring it. So some of our grantees are already using it. We need to update our management memo. Our grants management manual already says it's mandatory. So we will be doing that. And I am assuming we'll give grantees a 30-day sort of grace period once we get that information published. So I'm thinking in the next 45 days or so. Maybe anything different than that?
No, that sounds fair.
Thank you, Felicity. Let's see, question from Lori on the CV construction funding. Is the expenditure deadline remaining May 2024?
Hi, Lori. I checked with our CDBG CV GAs when I saw your question come in, and they confirmed to me that the deadline for all of the maximum deadline that grantees were eligible to apply for in terms of an extension for all construction projects was October 2024. It is, if your question is regarding is the deadline going to change as a result of getting augmented funding, the answer is no. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Felicity. Let's see, our next question is from Siskiyou. Are business incubators for LMA jurisdictions still an eligible activity, or could a microenterprise assistance program be structured to support a business incubator through the LMCMC national objective?
Just reading through the question, sorry. Business incubators for LMA jurisdictions. Both remain eligible, will remain eligible under the 2024 application. There won't be a limit on how a business incubator program could qualify. It can qualify as LMCMC or LMA as long as LMA is a eligible national objective in accordance with the CDBG regs. I'd need to double check that on the chart. I believe it is, as long as it's, sorry, that would be not qualifying on, I think microenterprise isn't eligible as LMA, but you could qualify it as a business assistance program using LMA as the national objective code. So yes, that would be eligible. And do I have that right?
Yeah, I'm checking my table right now to line them up. As Felicity mentioned, with economic development, there's a variety of matrix codes, and you have to just make sure that you align it with the correct national objective. And so I believe both of those would be possible as long as the combination of matrix code and national objective was aligned correctly. And I would say this is something that we can provide more direct TA to your specific application request offline.
And I am looking at the table now. Microenterprise assistance is eligible under LMA, as is economic development assistance to for-profits. So however if you're an LMA jurisdiction, you can run a microenterprise assistance program or a business assistance program, and both would be eligible under the upcoming NOFA under an economic development program. And then, yeah, I think reaching out to your rep to talk about the specifics of how you would submit that application would be great. Tanner, I should have let you get that question. You're nodding your head. You would have been right on.
It's okay. Reach out to me. I am Siskiyou County's rep. So
okay, Tanner will help you out.
Thank you, Felicity. So your next question is from Luis. When do you anticipate completing the list of questions for the 2024 NOFA application? There are some activities that were not covered in the 2023 NOFA, such as owner-occupant rehab. Questions specific to activities not included in the 2023 NOFA would be greatly appreciated. Also, will this be posted on the website?
Maybe you want to grab that one?
We're still working out the details on the 24 application. So we wouldn't, I don't have a date on when the questions will be available to the grantees for review. The current questions that we have for the current application, we're going to probably leave those questions in the file tab of the solicitation due to the process of trying to put things on our website has to go through ADA and a lot of hoops. So we're just going to leave it in a open area, which is the solicitation files tab. So once we do come up with the questions for 24, we will announce it and we will put it most likely in the same spot in the files tab of that 24 solicitation.
Thank you, ma'am. So your next question is from Paul. So one more follow-up on the financial reports. Are you going to send those out to everyone with an open contract pre-filled like you did for CV, or should we just use the template online and proceed?
I'll answer that question. Just go ahead and use the template and fill that out. Unfortunately, we are working at max capacity. So for our reps in just handling the territories, it will just be too much of a heavy lift for them to do individual Excel spreadsheets with that information. So we're asking the grantees to go ahead and make sure that they enter that information in when they submit that form.
Thank you, Mimi. So your next question is from Jeff. Regarding that pesky 50% rule, if a jurisdiction has an existing microenterprise grant program that is not 50% spent by the time of the next NOFA application, it will still be considered for funding since the 50% rule doesn't apply except for PSTA applications, correct?
Jeff, you're correct on that for now, because microenterprise will be funded as as part of an economic development program, and those are being applied for as over the counter. And in our current guidelines, the 50% rule only applies to competitive programs, not to over the counter programs. We are looking to probably change that in the future to encourage timely expenditures, but as of right now, our guidelines remain in place. So you are correct for now.
Thank you, Felicity. Let's see, your next question is, can you please link the updated grants manual? So unfortunately, due to like our website design, we can't link directly to the manual. So we basically just direct everyone to our CDBG website. And if you scroll down, you'll find like a series of tabs, and one says Grants Management Manual. You click on that, and then it'll populate with all of our GMM materials so far. And I'll post our HCD, CDBG websites in the chat.
And I'll just add to that, in the newsletters that we send out after office hours each week, which if you receive a link to this, hopefully you're receiving the newsletter. The very first paragraph is the link to the website and then a narrative description of how to navigate the website to get to the Grants Management Manual tab.
Yep, thank you, Anne. Let's see, our next question is from Cynthia. Are we still looking at January 2024 drop for the 2024 NOFA?
Hi, Cynthia. As of right now, that remains our target.
Thank you, Felicity. See, our last question in the queue is from Anonymous. Is there any way HCD can create a housing rehabilitation program TA group and/or contact list for those running such programs to create intentional pathways for peer consulting across jurisdictions on this topic?
Creating a community of practice group is definitely something we have talked about before, and we have a goal of having in place. We can talk about that more internally about how we would facilitate that, given, as Mamie said, we're all sort of operating at maximum, but we do want to create that. So we do have a desire to create such a space for our grantees. So we'll talk about how we might do that for maximum accessibility by all of you, with sort of a level of support that we can promise to provide at this point in time. So we'll get back to you. And I see Jim from Ukiah would be interested in joining such a group. So we'll get back to you. Mamie, anything to add there? I'm speaking for the group, but okay. Great. It's a great idea, and it's something we've definitely talked about. We did have one community of practice session a few months back for economic development, and we made some changes to our program as a result of the feedback we got from that. So it's something that we do strive to offer.
Great, thank you, Felicity. That looks like all the questions that we have in the queue for now. So go ahead and give everyone a few more minutes to get any last minute questions. So we got a question from Retta. Following up on the drop of the NOFA, if it drops in January, will there be the 60-day window?
It will still be the 30-day review period. So it will drop in January, and you'll have 30 days to review the NOFA, and then the application window will be 60 days.
Thank you, Mamie. Okay, if there are no additional questions, we'll go ahead and close out for today. Thank you all for your questions, comments, and engagement. And yeah, we'll definitely follow up about this. Oops, got some questions coming in. Let's see. There's a question from Cynthia. But the NOFA will just be the NOFA, correct? There won't be access to the application to fill out in advance.
That's correct, Cynthia. It's as Mamie described it. There'd be a 30-day review period. We would anticipate using much the same process as we did with the NOFA that's currently out, where we would release the application questions at the time that the NOFA comes out, so that you can start reviewing the questions and get your answers prepared outside of the system. And then the application window would open 30 days following the publication of the NOFA for applicants to fill out.
Thank you, Felicity. Let's see, a question from Jade. So that is the concern we have. If it is 30 days for the NOFA review and we have to go out to our individual colonias, will the NOFA being issued change anything? We will go out to our communities for.
I don't think so, Jade. There's not in terms of going out to communities to conduct community engagement and meet the qualifications of your citizen participation plan, there's no date too early for that. You could go now and ask for feedback. And regardless of when the NOFA opens or when the application window begins, that community engagement process, those public hearings that you hold to get community feedback on what you could apply for would still be valid. I think that's what your concern is. If you want to type, if you want me to let us know if that answered your question, that would be great. If maybe I'm missing something.
I'll jump in. I just want to say that we do have a red line version of our chapter 4 in our 2023 solicitation. So it'd probably be best practice to follow that, because that is going to be our official chapter 4 going forward at some point.
Just go ahead and give everyone another minute or two in case anyone's out there typing a question. So let's see. Coming from Jade, so we generally go out and let them know what is available to be applied for. I think we were told to use the 2022 limits. We just want to make sure the NOFA won't change. Won't change that as we will be going out to our colonias this month.
The limits are going to be the limits that were are anticipated to be the limits that we provided in the listening session most recently, which are not the same as the 2022 limits. I think the way to, be careful when you're going out to the communities is just, I think you could use those as anticipated award amounts when you go to the community. And that, that way you can get feedback without having all of that set in stone.
And Felicity, I'm not sure if she's speaking about the set aside for colonias amount.
Yeah, you're right. She probably is. The set aside is anticipated to be similar. We don't know our 2024 allocation from HUD yet, so we can't state that exactly. So it needs to be an anticipated amount.
Thank you, Felicity. Let's see. Rob asks, is there a template for the public notice for citizen participation?
Yes. It is on the Grants Management Manual tab on our website. It's Appendix 4-1. And we have a Spanish or English and Spanish version available. The first page of those is going to be we require 2 public hearings during the life of an award, one prior to application. So that's going to be the notice on the front page. And we require a second one in the latter half of the award, and that's going to be the second page of that sample notice. Just read through that, and that's on our website. And for Louise's, sorry, I'm just going to jump into Louise's question. The new financial report document is also available on the same Grants Management Manual tab, and that is Appendix 6-3.
I see that Jeannie just linked it in the chat as well. Thank you, Jeannie. And then Felicity put the Appendix 401, the sample notice of public hearing, in the chat as well. Thank you, Felicity. Jay's asking, are the limits posted, listening session posted online? The recording is available on our YouTube, but I don't think our IT team has updated our website with the slides and everything from those trainings. No, they have not. So Unfortunately, you'd have to go watch the recording. Maybe I can link that for you in a second. But let's see. Do you have a follow-up question? So we are questioning both, though I do know I had some pending questions from the last time on the amount of 2024 Colonias application that can be applied for. I believe only 2 applications are permitted for the general. Will the Colonias be the same?
Jade, that's a good question on Colonias. I think we'll get back to you. We'll send a communication to the Imperial County jurisdictions with the Colonias limits. We didn't discuss that during the listening session, so it's not on the slides.
Thank you, Felicity. I just posted the 2024 listening session recording in the chat. Hopefully all those slides and everything. So the links will be under the resources tab on our website soon. But with the holidays, I think everything kind of got delayed. Okay, if there are no additional questions, just a reminder that our next office hour is on the 13th. We will be having that session, so it's still planned to happen. And then the following one, the 27th, will be canceled during the holiday week. Just a reminder on that. And if there are no additional questions, just thank everyone for your questions, comments, and engagement. And yeah, we will follow up with you about the community to practice groups and everything like that. Right. Everyone has a good rest of your day, good rest of your week, and we'll see you back in 2 weeks on December 13th. Thank you, everyone.